Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back. And if you are new, my name is Kat. I am the Nurse Flipper. I am a full-time reseller out of North Florida. I quit nursing back in 2022 to do this full-time. So I told you guys last week, eBay sales were down horribly and they remain. So we actually have had 4 extremely slow days in a row, which honestly does not happen very often. So that does give me a little bit of cause for concern with like what's going on with eBay. Now, I'm not like the sky is falling. But luckily, Etsy remains up, Poshmark remains up, Mercari is Mercari, and we had one big sale and nothing else. And Whatnot is carrying the slack. So it is extremely important in my mind, especially if you depend on this income to cross post. And nothing like these past 2 weeks has shown me that more than I really have ever seen, because there until last week has not been a time when eBay was not our top performing platform, and as of right now it is not anymore. And it's a little bit scary because it is something different, but with cross posting and doing multiple platforms, we are maintaining where we want to be, which is what is important. So today is going to be bread and butter sales. That's what I do every Wednesday. And those are sales between $20 and $50 that have sold over the last week for me. I will tell you where I bought the item. I will tell you how much I paid, how long it took to sell, and my expected profit. And when I tell you the profit, that is after shipping, after fees, and things like that. And I am just estimating it. And I want to tell you guys something cool. I actually finally I have an accountant that does all of my bookkeeping, but I promote my Reseller Genie. It's a accounting software for resellers. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try it just to do it. And it's really neat because it pulls in every single transaction and it shows you the breakdown of like what it sold for, what your fees are, and it's in a ledger. So you can see and be more aware of your fees, which is something I personally lack in. Because I have the accountant do all my bookkeeping, I'm not looking at those numbers as much as I should. So my Reseller Genie recently integrated Whatnot into what they pull in. So they automatically pull in Mercari, eBay, Poshmark, and Whatnot now, which is super cool. So you can see graphs. I linked my bank account, I linked my business credit card, and it shows me expenses versus sales and all the fees. It's really cool. And the most expensive package, I think, is $20 or $22 a month. So if you want to check it out and you need an accounting software that's going to automatically import sales, check them out. It's my Reseller Genie, and my code is the Nurse Flipper, and you will get a discount for that as well. So I didn't plan on plugging them, but I was just thinking about it because it's so cool. And I haven't looked at it as much as I should, but I'm hoping in the upcoming week to look at it more, where next week I can share my screen with you and be able to show you some of those numbers from behind the scenes on there. But for now, we're going to go to my sales and analytics on List Perfectly so I can show you what platform brought in how much money, and then we will take a look at the sales. So here is our graph for the last 7 days. And this is really sad to me. And again, it is to me kind of concerning. eBay over the last week is only 21% of our sales. eBay is typically 80% of our sales. So this, as far as our sales on eBay, is kind of concerning. Now, Whatnot, and I do 5 to 6 sales a week. So I put in a ton of time into Whatnot. So Whatnot is actually 53% of our sales at $5,100. Etsy coming in at almost $1,600 and almost 17% of sales. So there's not much there. There's not even a 5% difference between Etsy and eBay for this week. Poshmark is at 586, which is 6% of sales. Mercari, that is one sale. I sold one big bundle, is 2.45% of sales. So we're going to go ahead, take a look at Etsy, then Poshmark, and then we will move over to eBay. Mercari, that bundle, because it was so much, will be on the high dollar what sold video on Friday. First up on Etsy, this is a really neat vintage Navajo Danae cloth doll. I did put red velvet dress, beaded jewelry, 11 inches handmade. This one I got in an online auction lot for about $5. She sold for just shy of 30. So she is going to be about an $18 profit, and she sold in under 2 months. So pretty fast. And she was actually in with just a bunch of Southwestern items that I got. Southwest and Native American Navajo stuff is one of my favorites. There you can see her with the ruler, and a good sale. I am still running 15% off on my Etsy store, and I believe she was priced at like $34.99, which came out to the $29.74 with the sale. I think I'm almost out of scarab beetle bracelets. I actually sold 3 in the last week. This is a vintage multi-gemstone Egyptian scarab beetle bracelet. It is just gold tone. It is not sterling silver or gold plated or anything like that. It does have a safety clasp. This one's a short one. It's only 6 inches and sold for $33.99. I actually got lucky, got this in a costume lot for around $4. So this one's going to be a $24 profit, and it sold in under 2 months. So I say it all the time, but please, please watch for scarab beetle pieces because they do well. You can see a couple of those gemstones glowed, so we do like to show that with the black light. Here you can see the length, and it was just shy of 10 grams. So we do show the weight on our costume pieces as well as our precious metal. And this one was a pretty fast sale. Last for Etsy is this Avon Jenny B gold tone watch. I did put rhinestone butterfly ladybug charm bracelet, and this one I got for around $5 in a watch lot, and we did put a new battery in it. It did work. We actually have 2, and this was the second one, so they have now both sold. So paid around that $5 mark, making this one about a $27 to $28 profit after fees. And really cute with the ladybugs, the bees, the dragonflies. I couldn't get all of those keywords in, so I got as many as I could. And this is a great watch for spring. And if I would have thought about that, I probably would have thrown that into one of my keywords. But regardless, it sold pretty fast in about 3 months on Etsy. And this is going to be the last sale for Etsy. So now we're going to jump on over to Poshmark. First up on Poshmark is this Louis Vuitton large empty gift box. It was 18 by 14 by 6. And I love this selling on Posh because you can ship up to 5 pounds and the buyer gets shipping cheap. Anywhere else, this would have cost quite a bit. And we have moved with these magnetic boxes to shipping them flat, sandwiched in cardboard. A lot of you had asked me how I ship them. And we were wrapping them in bubble wrap and putting them inside another box. But to save on shipping costs, we now, if they're large and magnetic, we ship them flat, sandwiched in cardboard. So I got this 3 years ago. It actually had gotten unlisted, so I relisted it last week, and it sold very fast on Posh. And the payout is $40. I paid $2, so it's a $38 profit. If you do not know, make sure to check for empty boxes. That's my Capital One app. I'm going to get that off of here, but make sure you watch for empty boxes because they are really great sellers. Even some kind of off the wall brands, like I've sold like watch boxes and just brands I had never heard of, empty boxes, and they do well. So pay attention if you come across empty boxes. Next up is this Tori Richard Hawaiian Floral Men's Shirt 3XL. This one sold for $24. The payout was $16. I paid $3 for this in an online auction lot, so it's a $13 payout. This is an item. We are still going through inventory just a little slower since Trish isn't here. I have a lot of other stuff going on. But this one sold in a day of relisting. So this one somehow had gotten delisted off of Posh. And it is a $16 profit. I don't pick up as many Hawaiian shirts like I used to. And actually, I'm not even thrifting anymore. So I'm not picking up any. But if you're okay with the $20 to $25 price point, good Hawaiian shirts, regardless of the brand, if they have a good print and they're a good size, like this one's a 3XL, they will still sell. So if you can find them for $1 at garage sales or estate sales, I had a ton of dollar thrift store clothing stores that I went to. This one actually came from a lot of Hawaiian shirts, though, that I bought on an online auction. This is a name that I was not familiar with. This is a vintage Michaela Frey 6.5-inch floral pattern enamel bangle bracelet. I did put signed in flowers. Sold for $28. The payout was $22. I paid $2 for this in an online estate jewelry lot. So it is $20 profit. That's why I always research names. I had never heard of her. And for $28 price point and a $2 buy, I'm more than happy to list that beautiful enamel bracelet. And here you can see it. This is our comb bracelet measure. And I am so excited. I'm not going to talk a lot about it because I probably could talk about it for an hour. But we have just ordered a 3D printer. And I'm going to be able to make these and make jewelry displays and all kinds of fun stuff. So watch for that. If I do some, I will show you. I'm super excited. I've been looking at all the different things. So here you can see this is clearly signed Michaela Frey, made in Austria. And really, really beautiful bracelet and an excellent sale at $28 on Posh. And it did only take 2.5 months to sell. Next up are some Nike Free Flyknit men's size 12 athletic sneakers. We did put Reed. I accepted best offer of $45 on these. The payout was $36. And I actually got these for my boyfriend. They were his. He didn't wear them anymore. So that $36 is kind of all profit. And we put Reed because they definitely were worn. You can see that. And we want to make sure that people saw the condition. We show the scuffs, the little tears, any little thing with shoes, because people are picky when it comes to shoes. Now, we did still have that original box, which does help. I didn't show it in the front picture, though, because the box was in pretty raggedy condition. Otherwise, if the box was in good condition, I would have put the picture with the box as my first photo. The scarab beetle bracelets are popular everywhere. I think we sold one on eBay, one on Poshmark, and one on Etsy in the last week. So this is a multicolored gemstone. This is another one that is just gold tone. So none of the ones that have sold this week have been precious metals. Sold for $35. Payout was $28. I paid $3 in a costume lot. So it is a $25 profit. And anything scarab beetle, if I get brooches, watches, bracelets, anything, pendants, it all sells very, very well for me. So definitely make sure, again, to remember to keep an eye out for scarab beetle jewelry. This Oleg Cassini diamond cut crystal cross was only listed about 2 months. And I did put sculpture, paperweight, and sign. Sold for $25. The payout was $20. I paid $5 for this in an online estate lot. It had a bunch of crystal figurines. Most of them I actually sold on Whatnot. So payout was $20. Again, profit $15. Very, very fast sale, though. Really, really pretty cross. I had it priced a little bit higher, but I did take an offer. There you can see that Oleg Cassini signature. And it was actually about 6 inches tall. I had 7 inches in the title, so I should have edited that. And I really am trying to pay a little more attention to my titles as well as my descriptions. This is our last item for Poshmark, and then we're going to move over to eBay. And this one actually took about 6 months to sell. So it took a little while longer. Sold for $24. Payout was $19. I actually only paid $2 for this in an online swimwear lot. So profit is about $17. I do well with Ralph Lauren. This one, again, though, it took a little bit longer, but I got it so low cost, I am okay with that. This one is actually made in the USA, which I'm paying more attention to since we have to put the country of origin over on eBay for international buyers to see. So there you can see that made in the USA. And Great sale, good profit. Bikinis really do not take up a lot of space. All right, so moving over to eBay, you can see here, and I mean, we've had these slow days throughout the month, but you can see it always goes up and picks up. You know, there's not a ton in a row, but look at this. Saturday, and I'll go back to a week ago today. We did 270 last Wednesday, 451 Thursday, 586 Friday. So Thursday, Friday were good, but then look, Saturday was 164, Sunday was only $65. Monday was 133 and Tuesday 118. So while our sales are only down 19% from the last month, 2 months ago we were making $20,000 a month. So we are down almost 50% in just 2 months, which to me is like, I don't like it. And I will tell you that I have been listing 10 to 20 a day. I actually have added free shipping on my new jewelry items. I have been putting flat rate shipping that was supposed to get us bumped up in the search more. And the result has been lower sales. So sometimes you can do everything right, but those numbers are low. Now, again, I'm not saying the sky is falling. The sky is falling, but hopefully something changes soon, because this is just not typical of eBay for us. However, I'm glad we are cross-posting and have those other platforms as a backup. So if you do not and you're counting on the income, I would definitely suggest it. Now, going over the recap, you can see for the week, we're only at $1,790. We want to be at $5,000 a week. That is our goal. We want to be at $20,000 for the month. We're just shy of $12,000. Just 2 months ago, we had a $50,000 90-day. Now we're down to 41. Again, Whatnot is primarily making that up. Etsy is also stepping it up. So luckily, we have those other platforms. So now let's go ahead and take a look at some of the sales that made up part of the $1,790. And again, don't forget, Friday is going to be a high dollar video. First up is this gorgeous vintage enamel daisy brooch. This one was listed 5 months ago, sold for $24.99. I only paid $2 for it, so it's an $18 profit. And 5 months isn't horrible for jewelry, especially something non-branded. This one is in pretty good condition. You can see there's a little wear on the back of the stem, but you cannot see that from the front. So really, really pretty enamel brooches. I love selling them and do well with them. Typically, though, enamel brooches are hard to get at a good price on online auctions. This is a really cool nautical signal flags embroidery frame cross stitch. I got this at the thrift store. I paid $3 for it. I accepted a best offer of $42. So this one is a $31 profit, and it took about 7 months to sell. So a little bit longer, but I thought it was really cool. It's just showing the different nautical flags. This one means requires medical assistance, stop instantly, man overboard. We don't ever want to see that one. And the main one is that diver down. So here you can see this actually was framed in Alcoa, Tennessee. There's that diver down, keep clear flag. Watch out for those. We were actually supposed to go out on the boat today. It has been horrible weather here in Florida. That storm front moved through, and we actually are down in the 30s again. So we were not going out on the boat with a high of 60. But hopefully we will be able to go out on Sunday. So this listing actually has a little story behind it. And I'll tell you real quick, just in case you run into something like this, and tell you what I did. So originally, these handkerchiefs were all listed separately. And a buyer bought 2 of them individually, and she was actually in Australia. And the shipping on them was more than the cost of the handkerchief. It was over $20 a handkerchief to ship. So she bought them, then she saw the shipping, then she canceled them, and then she changed her mind and reordered. And I messaged her and I said, hey, let me just make a listing for you with the 2 that you like. and I added 2 more in because these have been listed for quite a while. So really the $27.99 was the total she was paying for 2. I added 2 in at no additional charge, and I got them all into one order, so she only had to pay 1 shipping fee. Now, this is something you can suggest if you have an international buyer. I think it was a year or 2 ago, eBay said they were going to combine the shipping for international buyers, but I have yet to see that. If you have, please let me know, and let me know what the trick is to that. So we'll take a look at these. These are actually really nice hankies, but again, took over a year to sell. So really pretty ones. And I just told Prissy to pick 2 that were similar to the ones that she wanted to buy. So we would give her ones that she liked. I am only $4 into this, so it's close to a $20 profit, but they took a long time. And hankies and any vintage linens that are non-branded are very hit or miss. They might sell very fast, and then they might take years. This scarf took 6 months to sell. It is branded. It is an Anne Klein. I put elegant lightweight silk chiffon oblong and sold for a best offer of $30. I got this in an online auction lot for less than $1. So this one's a $23 profit. And I don't pick up as many scarves because a lot of times they won't hit that $25 price point that I'm trying to have as my minimum. But I do pick them up if I think there are going to be some high dollar ones in there. And if I do get those lots now, what I'll do is pull the more expensive ones, and then ones worth under like $30, $35 go onto Whatnot for a $3 start. Next up is another box that we found in inventory, was not listed, so it sold in just a couple of weeks. We sold 1. We do still have 1 remaining, and it is a Chanel empty shoebox, 12 by 10 by 4, and sold for $38.99. I am $2 into this, so this one is going to be a $30 profit. So doing that inventory is paying off with some sales for sure. And I'm glad to see that. And it's nice to have it more organized, and that helps it where things are easier to find. So pulling doesn't take as long. And as I hope all of you know, time is money. So doing the organization is just kind of streamlining our workflow, and we're finding items like this that were not listed. Next up, this is one that was just listed a week ago, sold very fast for $30. I paid $8 for this one, so it's actually only a $16 profit, but there were a few other knives in the lot that were worth more. So this one is an antique Ulster Nipco number 2023 blade, and I did put tortoise pattern. I am trying to learn more about knives because I see quite a few knife lots, just like I do jewelry. There you can see that Ulster Knife Co. And I'm hoping, again, to learn more about them. The prices go high, but if there are high value knives, I am okay with spending more. It's just at this point, I still don't know enough to have the nerve to bid very high on lots. This fairy sold in 5 months for $49.99. I do still have 1 left. We got 2 of them, got them in an online auction lot for $5 each. So this one is a $35 profit in the 5 months. Watch for these. I've had some, this is one of the higher ones. Most of them sell for around $20 to $25. But when you get collections like that, make sure you look up each item, because you don't want to leave profit and assume they're all $20 to $25. If I did that, I would have severely underpriced this one. So there you can see the Damosel made in England. She was originally $55. And we, again, still have 1 of her left, but this one was a really, really good profit. If you do not already know to watch for Longaberger linens, please do so. Now, this one took 8 months to sell, so it took a while longer, but the majority of my Longaberger stuff I got sold very, very fast. So this is Longaberger Christmas placemat, set of 4, red with green snowflake border. So I'm going to just throw this in here because this is Christmas. List your Christmas year round, guys. People do buy it. And we'll take a look. Sold for 30. I only paid 2. They're a $22 profit, and placemats don't take up a ton of space. They were in excellent condition. You can see there that Longaberger made in China. So again, make sure you're putting that country of origin in if you are shipping internationally so that your international buyers will see your listings. This cuff bracelet was listed for 5 months, so I accepted a best offer of $42 on it. I paid around $12 for this one, so it's a $24 profit. And most of the Southwest cuffs are worth significantly more, but this one was a Taxco piece. It was not a Native American one. There you can see we do show it on our bracelet sizer. It was just over 9 grams. So not bad at that $42 price point. And 5 months for being unbranded is not too bad of a turnaround time. Maybe my free shipping is working, because I did free shipping on this one and it had been listed 10 months and didn't sell, and it sold within a week of changing it to free shipping. So this is a Lasso Strick wool ribbed men's sweater jacket. It was made in Denmark, sold for $50. I got this in an online sweater lot, paid $5. The shipping was around $10. So we do have to calculate that in. So this one is going to be about a $20 profit after doing that, but it was sitting here 10 months. So I am okay with providing free shipping if it gets it out of here. So as we're doing the inventory, some of the items that have been listed longer, like this one, I am switching them over to free shipping, hoping to kick in a sale. This box took 2.5 years to sell. Only paid $2 though. This is a Manolo Blahnik empty white shoe box. This one did have tissue paper, the dust bag, and the card. So with the more popular brands, I pulled the dust bags and the cards out and sold them separately. But with this one, I left it in. So sold for $32.49. I paid $2. Took forever, 2.5 years, but it is a $24 profit, which isn't bad. Boxes, however, do not squish. You know, they do take up some space. Here you can see that dust bag as well as the card that was included. And it's a good profit, but this one did take a pretty long time to sell. Not as long as this one. This one took a year to sell. This is a vintage Japanese damascene necklace, graduated panels, floral pagoda. It did sell for full price though, sold for $50. I only paid $5 for it, so it's a $35 profit. And here we will take a look. Really, really pretty. I don't come across a lot of damascene necklaces. It's mainly brooches and bracelets. So really, really cool to see this piece. This is one I would pick up again, even though it took a year to sell. It's a good profit and the jewelry does not take up much space. These Paolo Gucci glasses took 10 months to sell. So you do have to put in the description that you're selling without the lenses, because they will need to replace them unless you're selling readers. So these sold for $50. I got them in a big designer buyout. I got several sunglasses. I got these, a bunch of shoes, designer bags, but that lot has well been in the profit. So these we will consider a $35 profit. And here you can see the design by Paolo Gucci. And we do show them on the styrofoam head. These are great for glasses. They're great for hats, beanies, things like that. So if you don't have a styrofoam head, I would get one. They're really low cost. I'll pop a link up for you. And these were a great sale. I don't pick up a ton of glasses because I really don't come across them much. Last up is one of my favorite things. I don't get them often because they go really expensive on the online auctions most of the time. This is an antique leather-bound ambrotype or daguerreotype case. This one was actually empty without the picture and still sold for $40. So I got this for $10. It sold in 5 months. It is going to be a $24 profit. And with the photos, these can be extremely valuable. And most of these are worn. You can see where it is worn. that is definitely to be expected. Most of these are from the late 1800s, so they are over 100 years old, and I am happy with the sale. I think it's a great price on an empty case. All right, that was everything. I hope you have enjoyed. Again, sales are down on eBay, but up on Etsy, up on Poshmark, up on whatnot. So cross post. That's the message of this video, because eBay being down so much is honestly, it's quite scary. So we are live every Tuesday. Don't forget, it was just last night, but we do our podcast every Tuesday where you can come and ask questions while we are live. We will answer. It's myself and Sunny Las Vegas is my co-host, along with 2 special guests. So you get 4 opinions on your question, which a lot of times are very, very different. And I think that's one of the coolest things about reselling, is that you do what works for you. So like, I am doing a lot of live selling to make up the gap on what I am not getting off of eBay. However, you might not like that. So you could just add a couple more platforms, and you can take a little bit from a lot of people's business model to make your own. And that is the beauty of reselling. So I really do appreciate you watching. I would love it if you would hit the thumbs up, leave me a comment, share with your friends if you think they will like it. And I will see you on Friday with a high dollar what sold.